Almost live from Dunkirk, New York. It's Revitalize Dunkirk. Phew! I just walked down from the North Pole, and boy, are my reindeer feet tired. Jim, you walked down too.
Yeah.
You don't have reindeer feet. You have elf feet. How did that happen?
Well, Santa, he decided instead of giving a bonus this year, he gave us all elf slippers. So
How did I end up with the little deer feet?
I guess you're special.
I guess so. The work in the toy shop for Mr. and Mrs. Claus this year in November was rough, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, yes.
Some people say it was back-breaking rough. It was so difficult, and a lot of the worker bees and the elves came down with colds and the flu, and there was tons of phlegm and coughing, and it was just a horrible environment for the month of November. But everybody's healthy now. All the kids are going to get their gifts. I see you're stockpiling some things.
Yep, I got Billy and Teddy.
Are those yours?
Oh, yes.
Oh. Are you going to share the bounty?
I think so.
Well, you know that we go by Edna and Bubbles. We're also known as Valerie Champlin and
Jim Fisher.
And Jim is the
El Presidente of Revitalize Dunkirk.
Believe it or not, he's the president of Revitalize Dunkirk.
Yes, I am.
Proud of it, too. So we're sorry that we didn't bring you a show in November, but like I said, we were terribly busy. A lot of us were ill. A lot of us were in rehab or in jail or otherwise engaged. But I heard that our fans were clamoring for our return. Do I hear a phone?
Yeah, it's right here.
You want to get that? Maybe that's one of our fans.
Hello? Oh, it's Santa.
Yeah, it's uh-oh. Are we in trouble?
I don't think so. He's asking where we are. Where are we?
Dunkirk, New York.
And
Cable access channel
1301, Santa. And he says, when are we going to get back to the
in about
North Pole?
10 minutes.
Oh, we're going to get back to the North Pole in 10 minutes?
Yes. We're fleet of feet.
Yes, we are. Okay, Santa, I got to go. We're on the air. Goodbye, Santa.
He always calls, checking.
He does. And we don't even have a list.
Well, we're back on the air. So we had kind of a hiatus for the month of November, but we're back. And this is our 8th or our 9th show we've done?
Something like that.
And we started back in the first part of the year. And we're hoping to continue the series of shows, if we get past tonight, that is.
Very serious shows.
Very serious shows. But we're hoping after tonight's show, our holiday show, that we'll come back to you in early January,
Yes.
right? Next year, 2019. But what's been happening? ¿Qué pasa, Jim, with Revitalize Dunkirk? I heard that you were engaged in little tree lighting or something was happening in the city of Dunkirk?
Right. We assisted the city with their tree lighting down at City Hall. It was on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, or Small Business Saturday, about 5:30. Some of us handed out raffle tickets. Some of us served hot chocolate and coffee and Timbits that were donated by Tim Hortons. So it was fun. A little cold, a little rainy, cold, but it was a fun time. And
I think City Hall looks fantastic this
yeah.
year. It looks really beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being as decorated, but maybe I just haven't paid as much attention before. It looks really pretty inside and out.
Oh yeah.
And some of the Revitalized Dunkirk people were there to help out.
Oh yeah. We had about 6 volunteers.
And
from
lots of
Revitalize.
families were there, lots of kids.
Yeah. And I don't know if anybody's checked out inside of City Hall, but as you go up the center stairs in City Hall, it is absolutely decorated. I mean, there's a little bit of everything, you know.
Now,
Except us,
Revitalize
we're not there.
Revitalize Dunkirk doesn't work for the city of Dunkirk.
No, no.
We should make that clear.
Right, yeah.
But we support the city of Dunkirk, and we try to attend as many city functions as we possibly can in a supportive capacity. So we wanted to make sure that we wished everyone happy holidays this year, whether that's having a happy Hanukkah, which just passed, or a Merry Christmas, which is fast upon us next week,
Less than a
or
week away, yeah.
Kwanzaa, or Festivus, the holiday for the rest of us, which is always one of my favorites. Remember, it's important that in the festivities of the holiday season, that we remember people that might not be having such a jolly Christmas, people who are lonely or lost or are without, whatever the without means, whether that means funds for Christmas or just living expenses. And we need to remember people who have lost people in their families, the recently bereaved. And by families, I mean relatives of the human sort and parts of the family that are of the four-legged variety, because it hurts to lose pets too around the holiday season. So please remember those around you who maybe aren't having the best of holiday seasons, because even though we have a lot of fun and we go to lots of parties, or some of us have families or kids that we do lots of decorating for and shopping for, not everyone is in that situation. So please try to remember those who are the elderly in particular, who are lonely this time of year. Something that I noticed, Jim, is that the phone again?
I think it is. Oh my gosh. Hello? Uh-oh, it's Mrs. Claus. And she is screaming at us.
Screaming?
She's
Mrs.
saying,
Claus never screams.
well, this time she is. She's saying, get your behinds back to the North Pole.
Tell her about 5 minutes.
Oh, about 5 minutes, ma'am. We'll be back. Okay? All right. Goodbye, Mrs. Claus.
Is her name Sandy, her first name?
I think so.
Clever. Santa, Sandy, Santa, and Sandy. Very nice. Did you notice in this last week's Dunkirk Observer that there was a letter to the editor by Mary Reese, and it was a nice letter, I thought, very well thought out, about the importance of volunteering, not only this time of year, but all through the year. She mentioned that lots of people from Revitalize Dunkirk volunteer doing various things throughout the city. I know she's a big-time volunteer at literacy volunteers. But we find that many people in Revitalize Dunkirk volunteer throughout the city and in the town also. So whether it's the Boys and Girls Club or the Historical Society or literacy volunteers or the Friendly Kitchen or the dozens and dozens and dozens of other places, take some time, and when you're thinking about your New Year's resolutions in particular, instead of just, I'm going to stop smoking or I'm going to lose weight, think about, I'm going to devote an hour or two every week,
Right.
To a particular
cause. A lot
of
of the organizations here in Dunkirk, even an hour, they'll be more than happy to have you there, because.
So it might be at the Salvation Army. It doesn't matter where it is.
Right.
It might be at one of the social clubs that you want to do something special with.
And it's pretty interesting too. I mean, like I volunteer at the Lighthouse, giving tours and like that, and you get to meet people from outside the area. From
all over the world, don't
right.
you get international people?
Right, Europe, any number of the states.
Will you be
here.
losing your position now after tonight's show? Your volunteer services will no longer be needed or wanted?
Either that or they'll have me dress up like this all
Yeah.
the time. But it is, you know, fulfilling to volunteer at all these organizations. You know, any number or anywheres that is just you're
It
needed.
gives you a good feeling in your
Yeah.
heart, and sometimes it makes your nose light up.
Yeah, like this.
Many organizations, the nonprofits in particular, they have great ideas, great programs, but oftentimes not enough dollars, but usually not enough people. I know we at Revitalize Dunkirk, we have tons of ideas of things we'd love to do in the city, but we're just lacking the person power. We don't lack for ideas, that's for sure.
I call it boots on the ground. You know,
Boots
or slippers or
or reindeer feet on the ground,
footies.
Cloven
Isn't that what they're
feet.
called? Footies?
cloven feet.
Yeah. But yeah, because that's the thing that, you know, we have a lot of ideas. Everybody has an idea. But unfortunately, due to the number of volunteers that we have, whether it's a cleanup, whether it's, you know, any kind of project, we just don't have the numbers to, you know, do what we want to. So
I should have mentioned that Mary is also a member of Revitalize Dunkirk, and she's the powerhouse behind the beautification committee and all those lovely flower baskets you see in the spring and summer throughout the city. That's due to Revitalize Dunkirk and the beautification efforts, and they do a lot of work to help beautify our environment. Is that the phone again?
I think so. Hello? Uh-oh. It's Boss Elf. He says, you better get your behinds back here because we really need you. You know, we're loading the sleigh.
Well, with that, tell them we'll be there in about a minute.
Okay, we'll be there in about a minute. We're going to take our slippers off and get in the car and get up there. Goodbye.
All right, we need to excuse ourselves just for a couple of minutes, but we'll be right back and we'll share some other thoughts with you. So see you in a sec. Welcome back to our show. How you doing, Jim?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad.
Tired?
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 Tired.
Are you tired?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Jim, what happened at the November Revitalize Dunkirk meeting?
Well, we had a presentation from Janet. Oh, no, I can't remember her last name now, but she's the director of the Dunkirk Historical Society Museum, and she was very informative.
She's a new person, right?
Right. Yeah, she's new to the area. She was from Ohio, or was up in Ohio at the Historical Society in Chagrin Falls, I believe it was. And she has come down here. I believe she lives in Casadega or Lilydale, and like that. And but she gave a presentation on what she wants to do with the Dunkirk Historical Museum.
Do you have her social security number?
Yeah. But oh, we're going off the rails. But it was very informative, and she has a lot of good ideas. You know, she sold me on what she wants to do with the Historical Museum and Society over there. And they also just had an open house.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I went over there after
There were
work.
quite a few Revitalized Dunkirk folks there.
Yeah, yeah. Matter
Quite
of fact,
a few, as a matter of fact.
Matter of fact, a lot of Historical Society members are also Revitalize
Yes.
Dunkirk members. So.
Yes. So there's a lot of good new energy there, and they've already reorganized some of the exhibits to make them more user-friendly. And I like the fact that, you know, they already had a new an open house, and the theme for it was a Victorian tea, and they they had a harp player, and she was not dressed up like Harpo Marx, much to my disappointment. But she played some lovely music, and they had great refreshments and a delicious punch. I wanted to. There was only like this much left in the bottom of the punch bowl, so I wanted to Tip it up. But I thought, no, that wouldn't leave a very good impression. But so they're under their own revitalization of a sort. So it's nice to see, because there's a rich history in Dunkirk, and we wish more Dunkirk folks would visit the historical museum and join. I know when I came back to Western New York from various other places in the world, that's one of the first stops I made, was to the Historical Society.
I think that's probably one of my first stops when I did move back to the area.
Well, Jim, what's one of the things that I've been harping on since I got back, or since I joined Revitalize Dunkirk?
Let me see. Bring Neptune back, I think.
Neptune. Neptune is a glorious old fountain that was revitalized by SUNY Fredonia, and Neptune is a great old fountain that had seen better days. So a lot of grant monies were found to rehabilitate Neptune, and he looks glorious. But unfortunately, he resides at the natatorium and on the SUNY Fredonia campus, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's an appropriate setting. But we'd love to see Neptune come back to Dunkirk, and the new director of the Dunkirk Historical Society is receptive to that idea. So I chatted with her about that and volunteered to, I'd love to help to get Neptune back, because as a little girl growing up in the Washington Park neighborhood, I used to play on Neptune. While the fountain was going, the kids used to climb on them in a safe way. It wasn't dangerous or anything.
Well,
so.
nothing was unsafe back in
Yeah,
the day.
that's
like
true.
back when we were kids. It was
So a
just
lot of people have warm feelings about Neptune, and it's a shame he's no longer in the city.
I just got a vision of you like pulling Neptune down Central Avenue from the college. you
No,
know?
I thought you were going to do that.
Oh, well, both of us
We're going to
will.
get all the revitalized Dunkirk people, like in the scene from the movie Cleopatra. We're going to pull Neptune down Central Avenue from Fredonia and into wherever his new location might be, and that'll be a glorious occasion.
It will.
More festive occasions. A lot's been happening, I'm happy to say. We've mentioned the Adams Center in programs past, because the Adams Center is also undergoing revitalization. And two partners out of an architectural firm from New York City, Brooklyn in particular, I don't know their social security numbers either, have taken over the Adams Center as a huge project, because that building needs a lot of work, but it's a glorious space for art and musical events and educational seminars and workshops for kids. They have big plans, and even though the building is still under reconstruction and needs a lot of work, they're very smart guys, because they've started doing programs already before the building is finished, because it's going to take a while to get that building finished. So when you go to the Adams Center now for events, what you see is a work in progress. So you'll see where there needs to be new structural, ceiling work. You're safe when you're in the building, so nothing's going to fall on your head. But you can see what needs to be done. And they've had several events since this summer. They had their open house. I think it was in July. They sponsored a foreign film, which is one of my favorites, Cinema Paradiso, which is an Italian film. But in November, they really went to town, and they had a couple of glorious special events. They had a dance troupe who also did an aerial performance, so that was spectacular. And they had a jazz musical event, and I heard great reports about that too. Again, November, I was doing my back-breaking routine in the North Pole, but also, and just a week or so ago, we had an event at the Adams Center. Not we, but the Adams Center sponsored an event that they called a gala. And it was kind of a performance piece.
Gala.
A gala. It wasn't that formal, but they called it a gala. and they did kind of a performance piece, and the co-partners, William Haskis and Matei Dennis, together with their co-worker Alex Guzman, did a performance piece, and they kind of did a parody of, like shysters who come from out of town or from a big city and they're trying to make big bucks. So they parodied that because a lot of the naysayers in the community don't know what these guys are about. And what they're about is just to get the building up and going and have programs for people of all ages. That's what they're about. So their performance piece was sort of like having a special auction, try to make money for the Adams Center. But what they were auctioning were actually big rocks, real rocks. And it was kind of fun because they were like snake oil salesmen and lots of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah,
And
I also attended the gala.
tell the piece of your visit to Adams that impressed you.
Oh, yeah,
Because I was interested to hear your perception.
Yeah, because performances aren't quite my cup of tea or whatever, but
They were offbeat, but they were great.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
With music.
Yeah, and gigantic boxes and this stuff too.
Big boxes. They kind of opened up like jewel boxes.
Yeah.
And then you had the performers inside and
Yeah.
rocks, and it was zany and great.
But then afterwards, William said, "Hey, who wants to go for a tour of the building?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm on board," So we, me and about 6 others, I believe 6 or 8 others, we went on a tour of the rest of the building because basically there's only electricity in the front of the building. So we were touring by phone light, basically. And we went
Cell phone light.
Right.
Yeah. Not this phone.
No, not
Although that would have lit up some of the way too.
But we went through the whole back of the building, the apartment that is larger than an apartment. It's actually a full house, 4-story house. We also went up onto the roof, and the view
That
from...
surprised me that you went up to the roof.
Yeah, it surprised me
Because I've
too.
been in the attic, but I was never actually physically on the roof.
Well, to get on the roof, they have like a small 5-foot ladder that looks like okay.
And some of the ladies had tall,
Right.
high heels.
And
Picture that.
And I'm not a big fan of heights, so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. But I fought my nerves and did it and got up on the roof. And I was well rewarded for the view of Central Avenue from 6th Street to down to the lake, and looking over at the west and past the hospital and all like that. So I was just amazed, blown away by this building. But it does need a lot of work. You can see where there was a water leak over the years and what damage it has done. That they're planning on replacing all of that, and so it's going to be a lot of money and a lot of time.
Right. But the exciting part is that things are already happening. It's kind of exciting. It's more than kind
They
of
have
exciting.
something coming up in January, right?
Well, not only that, but after they had the Friday night gala with the parody and the performances, on the Saturday right after the gala was a street hockey, so that you had people. There were probably 12, 20 people, something like that.
I think so.
Playing street hockey. They closed down 6th Street between the Adams Center and the library, and you could watch street hockey. It was fantastic.
And I sort of stirred up our board members because we had a board meeting just before that, and I told our fellow board members, hey, I signed us up for the street hockey tournament, and they're like, you better bring some wheelchairs.
Walkers and wheelchairs.
So they had that weird look on their face like, are you kidding?
So on the Sunday of that weekend, it was a chock-a-block full weekend of events.
And then they had also the
holiday market
Yeah.
on Sunday. And I went to that too, and that was great.
I didn't
and
make it to that one.
there were people selling nice crafts. I mean, nothing that was made in China or overseas. So they had things like art, ceramics, jewelry, all hand done in the local area. Someone with a lot of wonderful baked goods that I bought a lot of and gave away already and heard rave reviews about. So it was just a nice, it gives you an example of what the future portends for the Adams Center. So here you had a night of music and performance, followed by sports and out in the street, followed by a holiday craft market. I mean, so
It's almost like it's like a community center, you know,
Right.
because there is a lot of different things happening in Dunkirk, you know, like street hockey. A lot of people are interested in hockey or street hockey. A lot of people are interested in the arts or music.
But
or-
it's a nice mix. So don't get the idea that it's just serious, conservative art on the walls, because that's not what the Adams Center is about these days. Certainly there was art shows and there's plenty of art to go around, which I happen to love, but there's a lot of other things that are attracting all age groups and kids and older people, and so take advantage of this. And if you have kids and grandkids and yourselves, take advantage of what Adams has to offer in the future.
And what's the thing in January they're going to do?
Uh,
I think this will interest everybody, or at least a lot
Well,
of people.
the last time I went on their website, I didn't find anything yet, but I haven't checked in a week or so. So I'm not sure, but I know in the springtime, hopefully, I think I mentioned before that we may have a stand-up comedy night,
Ah,
sort of like a smoke-filled club, small club environment. Maybe. I'm hoping. I made the suggestion that April 1st would be a great date,
Yeah, that
April
would be.
Fool's Day for comedy night. We're hoping that the gentlemen who run Adams and the partners from Adams will be coming to Revitalize Dunkirk to make a presentation. We invited them for January. We're waiting for a call back to confirm. And we'll also invite the Adams directors here to our television program, because we told them we like to have fun and they like to laugh and have fun.
Oh, yeah.
So we're looking forward to that interview too.
yeah, and for them, because they basically, I guess you could call it, commute from the city to Dunkirk.
Every month almost they've been
Yeah,
coming
to
in.
you know, because they're really interested in this
They're committed.
building.
So let's show them a little commitment
Right.
from the community also. In 2019, next year, Revitalize Dunkirk has goals and priorities. You want to speak to that a little bit, Jim, about next year?
Well, yeah, we some of our projects that well, our number one project that we're sort of starting to work on is we would like to sort of work with the city and try to make Battery Point, that's just east of Wright Park, into like a nature park. You know, simple bike trails or walking trails. Valerie and I have also hiked through there about once, at least
A
once
small
a year.
group of us hiked through
Right,
there.
and we have checked it out, and there are some beautiful views of the harbor and the lake from that area. And you know, it's a shame that it's sort of like a hidden gem here in
It is a
Dunkirk.
hidden gem, and it's kind of wild and woolly now, but it would be a perfect bird watching site,
Right.
just trails for walking. So that's something that we're trying to organize for 2019. And we're also trying with Revitalize Dunkirk. Certainly, we would love to have more members, because we have plenty of projects and ideas, and we want new ideas and new folks to come in and kind of suggest to us that we're either on the right track or the wrong track, or we're off the track,
and
we're off the
everybody,
rails.
like we mentioned earlier, everybody has ideas for Dunkirk or what to do with Dunkirk or whatever. And, so if you got any ideas or, want to get involved with doing something for Dunkirk.
But we don't concentrate on the negative.
No.
I mean, we address it. I mean, the negatives are all too obvious to us.
Right.
But we're not a gripe session. We don't sit around just talking about the negatives of the city. We talk about more of the positives and how we can improve things.
Right, yeah, because, we don't want to, we hear enough of the negative comments that, oh, this is wrong or that's wrong.
And now we'll be hearing about our holiday show.
Yeah. Our holiday extravaganza.
Yeah.
So just, come and check us out in January because we might have, or we'll probably have the Adams people there. And, every month we try to have a different guest speaker, whether it's from the school system or some organization in the city and this and that.
Nonprofits,
Right.
or like we said in November, we had the Historical Society speaker. And we have some favorite projects that we're continuing into 2019. So things that we've been successful at, we're certainly not discontinuing.
Right.
Like the beautification efforts and the hanging baskets. In fact, they're expanding there are going to be even more hanging baskets this year
Right.
than the previous 2 years. And we have one of our favorites is the BYOC event.
Right.
Jim, you want to speak to that a little bit?
Well, we meet at or have a gathering, I guess you could say, every month during the summer from June to September at various points in the city. And this year we're going to...
Lakefront points.
Yeah. This year we're going to go in reverse of what we usually do. We're going to start at Wright Park in June and work our way west to the point in September. From Wright Park to Main Street Beach to the lighthouse and then to the point. So, and we're hoping...
And what does BYOC stand for?
Oh yeah, bring your own chair. See, we think everybody should know that by
Right,
now.
but everyone doesn't know.
But and we're also hoping to, like we have done the last 2 years, to have a bonfire at least once at one of our locations. So
They're always very popular.
we got to work with the city and the fire department. With that because they have to do all the paperwork. They do the paperwork. We enjoy it.
Now, we haven't forgotten bocce in the park.
That's true.
We did have bocce, but we had bocce on the beach this summer. And it was successful, and people enjoyed it, and we gave prizes away, and we had Italian music playing in the background, and even there was a rumor that the Pope attended, and I don't know where that rumor came from, but so we're continuing our programs that we've enjoyed and the community has turned out for, and we enjoy sponsoring or co-sponsoring. But we'd love to do more, and with more members, we can do more. So please join us. We have a meeting coming up in January. It's always you want to tell when our meetings are?
Always the third Thursday of the month at 6:30 at the Incubator, 214 Central Avenue here in Dunkirk, or the Fredonia Technology Incubator. Let's get the name right. And a lot of people don't know where the incubator is. I found that out there. Where's the incubator? But it's
that attractive-looking new building on Central Avenue.
Just before or just after the viaduct there, as you come off of 3rd Street or off of 2nd Street, it's right there. And we meet in the large conference room, and we discuss what our various committees are doing, and also we have our guest speakers and like that.
And it's a diverse membership.
Oh yeah.
So we're people from all walks of life. Every generation seems to be represented. There are people of all age groups, all backgrounds, socioeconomic. So don't feel that it's a specialized group, or that because it's at the Fredonia Incubator, that it's a group of intellects. No, It's a group of just regular people.
Yeah, look at me. No.
So please join us in the new year. And with that, Jim, just tell people to have a happy new year, and we'll see them next year.
That's right. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you next year.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.